And we're back, and now we're going to be getting into Germaine's personal story, and it's a tough one to hear. And this will also explain why he's advocating to raise the age. Christian, talk about your facility would be one of the places that these kids would be diverted to. Right. Give an idea. We're not talking cookies, milk, and juice here. You're trying to rehabilitate the soul, and we're going to talk about Germaine's experiences in a second, so that they are productive. What kind of things happen behind your walls? Okay, so we were started by a judge 38 years ago as an overnight shelter for youth in the system who couldn't make bail, and the judge thought it was unfair to have them locked up in a facility. So we started as an overnight shelter. We still have our name, the youth shelter, but what we do is so much more, Richard. We provide educational services. So our kids are mandated to participate in educational services. We have clinical services. We provide substance abuse, mental health treatment. We have a robust aftercare program that follows them after they leave the shelter, and that boasts a phenomenal rate of recidivism of around 20% as compared to about 80% for this population who didn't have services. Speak to the regular person at home, because in the end, the legislators, they're worried about constituents. They're worried they're going to get a phone call one way or the other saying, vote this way, vote that way. Which, obviously, everybody here wants them to vote, you know, to raise the age. Yes, sir. Convince them why they should.
Convince them why. All right, now this is a perfect example. When I was 10 years old, as Mr. Christian Philemon said, when I was 10 years old, I was in foster care. My mother called my sister, which is her daughter, and these were twins, and she got incarcerated for 15 years for that. She's on Wards Island as I speak. It's in Harlem, New York, Wards Island. The system told me that my mother died, that she was killed. At 13, I noticed that the system was a little messed up, the agency system, and that I felt that I was being used as a check. Being foster parents, a lot of times they don't take their children in for the children, to help those children in the long run. They're taking it as a check. You know what I mean? And I felt that I was a check. And I caught on to that quick, so I self-educated myself. I said, I need to learn about this. What is this that I'm in? I'm considered a ward of the state. What is that? And I caught on quick, and I taught myself, and if I apologize for, you know, getting into this, because this is my life, but
And as a young child, and I think it's important that we know that all young people make mistakes. Many young people commit crimes, and it's often the resources of their families that dictate the outcomes. So you have a young person like Germaine that is in the foster care system without the family supports that I know my children have, perhaps your children have, so that when things go wrong, where is that, you know, adult there to sort of catch you? Certainly to, we're not saying that we want to let children off, but we want them to be punished in the appropriate way, in the appropriate systems, to give them the option for a second chance.
When we have a youth come into our system, you know, we provide sort of a caring, compassionate approach. One of the things I think we were most proud of, you know, Germaine had committed an offense while he was in high school. With us, he was able to get all his credits transferred back to New Rochelle High School and graduated while he was in our program with his high school diploma, which was a huge accomplishment for him. Tremendous. Right? And we look at, you know, what are the factors when Germaine goes back to the community that's going to impact his recidivism, right? Education and employment. So we took care of the education, and our aftercare program provided support with job searches, dressing for interviews, things like that. But I think more importantly, what we try to teach at the shelter is really self-worth and self-respect.
Everyone wants to be successful. I know, you know, I like nice things. I want to be successful, and the youth shelter, they basically taught me all things like that. And, you know, just like he said, they taught me, you know, basically worth. And, you know, basically saying, because, like, I'm a very good speaker, I'm very you know, I graduated high school, you know, I'm very artistic, you know, and I have many talents. And they just basically taught me that, you know, don't waste them.
We've done a lot in this program with Hudson Link, which deals with people at maximum security facility, and now it's also branched into female institutions as well. The one commonality, I think, is, and it doesn't matter if you're liberal, conservative, moderate, wherever you are on the political spectrum, it's irrelevant. I find when people put a face and they hear the story to the person, it's not a number anymore, and they get it that 98% of the people, they're coming back in to society. And even if you don't care, and hopefully they do, but even if you don't care, they got to do something when they get out. And what is in the best interest of society and how to handle it, and I'd argue the most cost-efficient way is to do something. And I think when they meet the Germaines of the world and they meet other people and they see a face and they hear the story, you've probably seen this both in your careers, opinions change pretty quick.
Yes. Westchester Children's Association has been involved in the Raise the Age campaign for about 2 years, and we've done a number of sort of public awareness and education, as I said, events with the Youth Shelter of Westchester. We've done town hall meetings, and we often try to have a young person like Germaine who's been involved in the system. And that's the most powerful point, you know, of the event. When a young person gets up and says, we had a young person at a Mount Kisco event last spring who was the oldest of a family. His mom was involved in drugs, and he really was trying to take care of his younger siblings, got into the selling of drugs himself, was arrested. He was speaking to us last spring as the president of the student government of Westchester Community College. And you just look at this young man and you know that there are many more like him. Given the right opportunities, given the chance, they can turn their lives around and become very productive members of our society.
Okay, when we come back, we will change gears and actually take a look at the weather. A snowstorm that's ruining the first day of spring for millions of people.